Hi friends and welcome back to Jewelry with Jen. I am Jen. Thank you guys so much for joining today. I am so happy to bring you I'm hoping some really fun inspiration on a really cool way to mix your techniques in any project really. And I'm doing a necklace project today. You can probably see the finished product from the thumbnail. And so really what we're doing, guys, is we are mixing up multiple techniques today. So this deserves to be on a tutorial Tuesday because there are multiple techniques we're applying here, but I want to show you, if you're not familiar, how to incorporate all the some of the simple, not all, some of the simplest techniques that we utilize, but we're going to put them kind of all in one. And those techniques are basically some simple beading on some bead stringing wire, okay? And then we're making some components with eye pins, connecting those together. And then we are doing kind of a really cool bar effect, connecting more components here. And then we'll have the stars and a couple things dangling on the bottom. So this ought to be fun. Let's jump into it, shall we? The rounds and then these pretty 6mm crystals, and then that's just what I have. So you can come up with any pattern, and we'll just trim a little bit of that off. We're just making simple loops, and so I'll just turn that in, make a simple loop, and there we go. And now I will grab each one of my loops with my pliers and turn, rotating my pliers, turning to make sure my loops are going the same direction. And now we can go ahead and put this together. So the first one is this. So I'm just simply going to open up my loop. Notice on this one I have a bead cap so that I know is my top. So I will simply open up the loop on my eye pen. I'm going to then put it on this component with that loop facing, the open portion of the loop facing the back. And then we'll close up our loop. Okay, and then what we're going to do right above that is add the other component. And then same thing. So I'm going to be adding it right here. I'll zoom you down to the mat to show you I'm constructing this, guys. It's really, really fun, and it's not at all difficult. So again, I have my open loop right here. I'm going to crank that open, and then I'm just going to pop this component right on that loop, close my loop up, and straighten out your eye pins if you need to. Okay, so that's what I've got there. Okay, and now we are going to add the next component right on top of that. Okay, and so let me pop you back up and show you what we have at the top here, or the middle of our section. So that's what we have. That's what that looks like. Okay, and we're kind of working from the bottom up, but we kind of, I guess, started in the middle. But let's go ahead and finish our bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do, I left one here to do with you. So again, guys, all I did was took 3 eye pins, or 2 eye pins here, and I just fed on some beads, made simple loops, put them on the components just like I just showed you, and I just made sure that each one was connected in the connector to a section where it's not going to move about, and that also my beads on the eye pins are the same length. Okay, so it kind of gives you that bar necklace effect. Okay, and so let me see here. Okay, so now over here you can see what I've done is just put some stars here, and we'll just connect them with jump rings. Super duper easy. But we're going to go ahead and finish our last component first, which is going to end up being the sky. Okay, and I need another icon. These guys, what I did, and we're gonna add them to an eye pen. These guys, what I did was basically, let me get these out of the way, is I kind of did a little staggering here. So I made these two exactly the same length, and then these two, I need to close up this loop. I was just gonna want to do that with you guys. And then I made these two the same. Okay? And so therefore, it'll have kind of a little cascading effect situation going on here. And then, again, these you can make any length you want. And I just popped my loop open and then fed the star in. We don't need a jump ring there. That little star charm. Okay? But what we need to do is we need to add these to another eye pen to connect to our bar here. Okay? And so what I've come up with, well, first of all, let's close this guy off so he matches him. So we need to add a star and just close that loop. So let's do just exactly that. So again, just making a simple loop with your round nose. And same thing, if you want to turn them to make them the same direction, you can certainly do that. Okay, so now that component is done, and even though I just obviously closed up the loop, we're just going to pop it open one more time. Crank that open so that I can feed one of my little star charms on there. Close that loop back up. And so now all 4 of our components that are going to dangle here are done. So we have lots of stars and lots of drama going on the bottom of this necklace. So cool. Okay, so in order to feed these on, I am going to do a couple of different things. So we're going to be adding some beads in between each of our components we've made here. And we're going to be making sure that our length is exactly the same as the other 2. Okay, so the other thing we're going to do, guys, is making sure that these loops that we are feeding on to the top of our components are completely closed. Okay, so we're going to want to make sure those are completely closed. And when I feed them on, I'm going to have that open portion towards the back of my eye pin here. Okay, just gives it a cleaner look. And now let me see, I think that's, but now see that, guys? It's perfect. Okay, and I don't know that I even need to trim. I think I can get a simple loop out of exactly that length there. So I'm gonna just roll that in again, make a simple loop, but again, I am going to make sure that they are facing now down towards my mat, the open portion, because of how I'm going to feed this on this component. So first we'll just go ahead, and now my plier with the open loop on this side is kind of facing up and down, and I'll grab the other plier, and there's that loop, and I am going to pull him to where he is also facing down. Okay, and then I'll straighten out my loop there. Okay, and now we will pop our loops open and add this to the bottom. So I'm opening up my loop here, and again, putting my loop portion facing the back. So I'm going to put it right in that section, right there, of the component, because then it has, it's just, there's such a small little space so it won't move around. And then we'll just close the loop. And that is what we have at the bottom. And so, you know, it kind of bent around a little bit, which is super easy fix. If you need to straighten out your eye pins, you can certainly do that. But this is what we've got. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and let's just add this portion over here with some jump rings. So that's all I'm doing is just using some 6mm. You can do this any way you want. This is the easiest to me. So just gonna pop these on with a couple of jump rings. And then we'll work on the beaded portion, and we're almost done with this beautiful star necklace with some of my favorite gemstones. Okay, so this whole entire section is 6 inches. Okay, now what I've done is my beading portion is 5 inches. So this will end up being about a 22-inch necklace, something like that by the time we add our clasp. Maybe, 21 and a half, something like that. Okay, so what I've done, guys, is 6 inches and 5 inches of beading. Okay, and you can modify that to whatever length you want. Okay, now make sure we have enough room to be crimping. And so I'll just basically cut it right there. And then I am going to put a clip right on that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to finish off the bottom and the top, and then we will connect them to the necklace. Okay, so I'll grab 2 crimps and 2 clamshells, and so we will feed on our clamshell first, facing up with the open portion of the clam, the belly facing up. Okay, let that go down your wire, and then feed on a crimp. Okay, and then you can go ahead and you can smush it right there, or you can roll it back, your wire, a little bit, just to have a little bit more wire inside there. That's what I typically do. And then I kind of, let me pull you down. I do it that way just because it gives it a little extra security. You can also put some glue inside your clamshell if you want. That you can certainly do. Okay, so that's what I've done there. And I'll just basically go ahead and give that a smush. Okay, do my tug test, not going anywhere. I'll get rid of the excess there. We'll pull our clamshell up and close that up. I need to trim that a little bit more. You can also, finish this off any other way. You don't have to use the clamshells. So I'll pull the clamshell up here and go ahead and give it a squeeze, and then I'll grab my chain nose, squeeze the belly a little bit there, make sure it's nice and straight, and that is all finished. Now I'm going to grab this one off of the clamp I had, so that's what you have. Okay, we'll do the same thing up here. And then we're going to slide this bottom portion with the clamshell. We will just open the loops on those connectors right there. We're all done. So we'll do just that. So I will grab the loop on this connector, this last component I have, excuse me, not connector. Slide my clamshell on there and close my loop. And again, I'm going to want to make sure my loops are nice and closed because our clamshell loop is very, very thin. It can easily fall off. So definitely make sure your loops are good and closed. And that's what I've got there. Dramatic look and also more length. You can switch up to 8mm jump rings or even 10, right? So can really modify, make this as short or long as you want. Really, really just, it's just a cool necklace. I think so. And I hope you guys enjoy. Let's look at our finished product here. This is what we have, my friends. This is what this looks like. And it's kind of weird. Let me pull you guys up a little bit here so I can try to get the whole thing in camera for you. And maybe I'll put it this way. So there we go. There is the full necklace. And it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. I love, love, love it. Love, love, love. We've combined some beading wire here, made some simple components, did a bunch of dangles, and really used a lot of wire, really, right? A lot of wire. A lot of wire heavy, but it's balanced with the beading wire on the back, so I didn't want to do the full thing with all the components, hence wire, right? But you can really make this your own. Now, you could also, for more drama, guys, make some more of these components here, these little bars, I call them. You can absolutely do some more and put them here. You could do one more that looks exactly like the bottom, put it right here at this top loop, and that will dangle just above right here, and that would be beautiful as well. You can really change this up and make it look any way you want. But just some, I thought, a fun idea of how to like do a bunch of different techniques and make something beautiful with this gorgeous lapis and labradorite. And I think it just turned out beautifully. Of course, you know how weird things lay when they're on the mat. But yeah, get the drift. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope you guys love the necklace. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like. Give me a thumbs up. Comments really helps my channel, helps up everybody else find me too. And I hope you guys will try this beautiful technique to make something similar of your own. And happy Tuesday until next video, friends. Be blessed.